At the beginning, when I started, I thought that most people would like a certain style. I quickly realized that people are so different. There is a client and there's a market for everything. It's just finding it and being patient.
Hi everyone, we're in for a treat today. As you all know, in the channel, we've been talking about stocks, investing, real estate, and everything that has been considered traditional investing. But here's the thing, as much as I love the stock market and other asset classes, it's not just the only investment. That there are other investments, there are other alternatives on where you can put your money that can either preserve it or over the long term can make it grow for you. In this episode of the podcast, we have a very talented artist who I think over the long term will do very well as well. We have Paulina Sotto in the podcast. Paulina, how are you? How's this quarantine lockdown doing for you?
Hello, thank you. Thank you for your kind words. I'm flattered. Well, I just had a baby, so that's keeping me busy. Our newborn is keeping me very busy.
When you go into the stock market, you put your money, you buy shares of companies. When you buy shares of company, you become a shareholder. So whatever, for example, Jollibee, McDonald's, Apple will become in the future, you become part of that. So if I have money and buy a painting, how does that go as an investment?
You're really investing in the artist. You're not really investing in the art work per se. Art is very subjective. You know what I mean? Even when you're looking at it, whether you like it or not, it's very subjective. It's really personal and it depends on what you like. Even as an investment, it's really subjective because there's really no way of knowing how an artist will and their artworks will appreciate. It just does over time. For example, you take my lolo. He started when he was 18. He had no name, like no one knew him. I remember he was telling me his first exhibit was in Rome. Okay, because my lolo is a genius. He got through art school and all that stuff and scholarships, everything. As in genius talaga siya. And he started when he was 18. His first exhibit in Rome, he sold nothing. He was really a struggling artist, as in the true definition of struggling artist. He was living on cigarettes and coffee, and in art school, no money. He started painting a lot when his eldest daughter, my tita, got sick, and they needed money to pay for her treatment and all that stuff. He was getting recognized, and he was becoming successful. So from that time when he had his first exhibit, he sold nothing. Now he's a national artist, and his works can go for millions.
What would cost more? Sample, a painting that he's done a decade ago or a painting that he has done 40 years ago. Say that he made the same thing and the items that he used were the same, the size was also the same.
From what I know, it's the earlier works that are more valuable. That's why it's also important to invest early in an artist if you think that person will become successful.
Okay.
Because if you have an early work, that's much more valuable.
Everyone right now wants to invest in a stock that somehow has the chance to become like Tesla, or a stock that was like Jollibee before to where Jollibee is right now. So there are parameters to see, like for example, how the company's growing, their expansion plan, if they really have customers. For an artist, how do you know that this artist has potential? Is it the skill? Is it the number of paintings sold? Is it the recognitions?
For businesses, there's actually data, right? There's data that you can look at. For art, it's like the complete opposite. It's a leap of faith. It's really a risk that you have to take. But it's always better to invest earlier because the artist's prices will never be that low ever again. When I started, a painting that was 2 by 3 feet, I think I would sell it at around a little less than 50,000. Now I sell it for about 100, 110.
The ones you made 5 years ago were 50,000. The ones that you are selling now are 100,000. correct?
Same
So,
size, yes.
so my question is this: the ones that were made at 50,000, are those worth also 100,000 now, or should they be worth more than 100,000?
It should be worth at least the same price as the ones now.
What's actually funny, before this, last night I was looking at your paintings. Mentally, I was trying to see ano kaya yung mas mahal dito, kasi it was hard to tell what's more expensive, this one or this one. But I have a question in terms of price when people start investing, because in the stock market, there's a misconception also that you need to have millions, where totoo naman you can invest millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, thousands also, but you can also start investing for less than 1,000 pesos. So, but of course, you buy a very, very small piece. If I'm an entry-level person, but I want exposure to the art world, art industry, I want to use this as an investment, what's a good entry-level amount that I can find a painting that I'll buy now, hold it for 20 years or so?
Like I said, depends on the artist. Kasi, for example, my painting that's, let's say a small one, like this lang. Let's say it's 20K.
Mm-hmm.
You can invest in other artists the same size that's only 5K. But who knows, that artist might like shoot up suddenly, and then suddenly you only invested 5K, and then they're more successful than I am.
There are paintings that are around 5K, or there are prices pa that are lower pa than that. Okay.
There are they're probably more unknown artists, but then that's the point of investing in art. You can invest in an artist super cheap, and then hopefully like 20 years later they're so successful, and you're like, hey, look, I've got one of his paintings for 5,000 pesos only, and now it's worth like 100,000.
Is it under the context that every art piece that you buy today is undervalued? For example, you buy it at 5,000, not like the stock market. The stock market, you buy a stock at 100, it can go to 90. For an artwork you buy it at 10,000, it will never go lower than that anymore. It always appreciates.
Yeah, that's a good thing about art, because it will always appreciate. It might not appreciate at the same rates, but it will never go lower.
Have you ever seen someone buy a certain piece and then hold it for 10, 20 years, and then remember how much he was able to sell it for also?
Some clients of my lolo, I remember them from before, and they would buy his paintings at like say 100,000, and then now it's worth like 1 million.
Oh.
I'm not sure if they're able to sell it. Yeah, but it's really, you can't go wrong with national artists.
Okay.
I mean, investing in them, you can't go wrong with national artists like my lolo, for example.
Would you suggest that people who go into paintings as investments are people who really like paintings? Kung wala kang alam dun, it might not be something also that will work for you, kasi baka mainip ka lang, you bought it to make money and then you're not really appreciating it, then it's just there sitting.
You don't have to know a lot about investing in art to actually invest in art. You just buy it and then let it stay there. 10 years later, go back to the artist, ask how much this painting is. It's super easy to figure out. Or look for the painting in the gallery and see how much it's selling for. If
I would ask you, and you would take on naman investor's hat or a collector's hat, how would you pick under your criteria and then under the expertise that you have? Guys, sobrang galing nung kausap natin ngayon na artist. So if it were you, what would be your parang parameters? So while you're thinking, kasi sa stock market, what we normally do, for example, we look at, do they give dividends? Is the income of the company increasing? Is it beating out its competitor? Or is there a government regulation that favors them? For you, do you have, sige, ito yung rules ko for me to buy it? Or at least tips for people who would want to start. So, by the way, guys, no, if you will look, unahin nyo na si Paulina Sotto. Siya na yung top one on your list. Oh.
Thanks. But, well, first of all, that's the reason why I don't buy art, because I'm not really good at it. A lot of artists, they really skyrocket when they start showing abroad.
So I'm curious about this. You said at the start that it's not really just the painting, but the one who is painting it. I've seen over the past few months that, or even more than, for years na rin also, you see celebrities painting. Does it translate also because they're popular, their paintings could be priced higher than those that are really artists for a living?
Yeah, of course, like 100%. You're not investing in the painting itself. You're investing in the brand. You're
Okay.
investing in the name. You're investing in the artist. It doesn't matter what you buy from me, or let's say my lolo. It doesn't matter what you buy from him. As long as it's from him, it has value. Where's our abstract? So technically, it's very easy to copy. I can copy that in 2 seconds. But if I make that and it doesn't have his name, doesn't have a signature, and he didn't make it, there's no value. The value is not the same. Have you seen paintings that are just like black or just red or super simple lang? Yeah, and they sell for so much because you're buying the name, you're buying the brand. You're not really investing in the art. Sure, you have to love what you're buying.
Okay.
But as an investment, it's really you're investing in the name and the artist. For example, with me, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, being the granddaughter of national artist totally like put me ahead of the game from the beginning. So I'm super super lucky. I'm not gonna lie that it's all about skill. I probably would not be here and not be this successful if I wasn't his granddaughter or if I wasn't the daughter of Vic Soto. You know what I mean? It really is about the name. You're investing in the name. If you're good, then that's a bonus. That's a huge bonus. If people actually like your work and can relate to it, and you're good, and people like what they see, then you're all set.
When it comes to investing, it's not just about how much you make, but also the risk attached to it. What's the risks naman if you invest in art and painting?
It will never really depreciate. It will always appreciate, or it will just stay the same.
If you're buying a painting and then, of course, it's a long-term hold, is there a risk ba na the quality will degrade or baka masira, or what happens? For example, you might have kids tapos they might knock it off and mahulog, and then a part of it will how does that affect?
It's like normal aging, then that's fine, because a lot like my lolo's works from before, like his works pencil and paper, parang brown na yung paper, but that doesn't really it doesn't really devalue it because it actually gives it character pa. You can tell it's old, you can tell it's an early work. If you don't take care of a painting properly, there can be mold, there can be termites. That I've seen it, like in my lolo's paintings, we've had to discard them because may malaking butas na or something. You just have to take care of it, or don't put it in direct sunlight. You want to preserve it, obviously.
As an investment, it's really when you're picking out the artist that you want to pick the one that's really good in marketing, and also the one very entrepreneurial also, because that's where the upside is.
Yeah, basically everything you said is correct. As an artist, you need to have skill, obviously, but you need to be able to market yourself properly and market yourself well. And you need to build a brand around your name. No one else will really dictate how much your pieces are except you.
Just a parallelism to investing, no? Like this condos, may price increase na kami, sir. Next month, pag di mo binili yung condo na to, pre-selling, pero it's 50,000 more expensive now. So it's the developer dictating also the price. You said that your price before was 50,000, now it's 100,000. How many years was that, the span in between?
5 years.
Okay, so to everyone watching this is so interesting. Think about it. 100% return, 5 years. That's better than putting your money in a time deposit still. Diba? I think that's something so good because also, I don't know if you know this, but the economy is not doing so well. So if the economy is not doing so well, there will be some businesses or some other investments that may not appreciate as much. Pero, baka art may continue to go.
People are still buying art. Let me tell you, people are still buying art. Like, it has not slowed down at all.
For those who bought earlier and then they want to liquidate, kasi in the stock market, if you want to buy something or sell something, you just click it from your phone and then it's done. It's as good as cash already. If I want to sell my painting, how long does it normally take before it gets sold? That's one. If I'm a collector or investor, then number two, do I have to go to a gallery, or it's better na I'll just post it on Instagram? Guys, I'm selling this painting by Paulina Luz. Sobrang sikat niyan, sobrang galing. This is the price that I'm selling it.
Yeah.
Or do I do it in an auction house? How does it normally go?
It's relatively easy to invest in art, but to liquidate, is another story. Because like you said, for businesses, you can just, I don't know how easy it is to sell, but you said that you can just click it and be like,
Yeah, just
and then
click it
liquidate.
and you're done.
And it's liquidated, right? That's crazy because in art, it's hard to be successful in selling because art is never a necessity. It's always gonna be a want. It can take really long, or you can be really lucky and then sell it the next day. Because even with my paintings, there are times where, supposing last week I made a new painting. I posted the next day, it's sold already, or the same day it's already sold. But I still have paintings from maybe 2017 that I just sold last month. If you find the right person that likes what you have, then sure, that's great. But there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that you can liquidate in a certain amount of time.
Question: the one that you sold 27, that was painted 2017, just sold now, versus the one that was created now, sold quickly. From an artist standpoint, making it, did you see the difference? Ito kasi mas madaming effort ginawa ko, talagang this one I made more strokes in it. That's why people bought it quicker. This one looks plain.
At the beginning, when I started, I thought that most people would like a certain style. I quickly realized that people are so different. There is a client and there's a market for everything. It's just finding it and being patient.
One artist, they create different types of painting. One is charcoal, one is acrylic, one is pastel. Does that entail different costs, assuming they're the same size and they came from the same artist, created on the same day?
For me, a painting is more expensive than a drawing. So it can be the same size, but the drawing is much cheaper.
Got it. So just to recap everything before we put this to a close, paintings are good for long-term appreciation. Buy it, hold it, but you will only unlock the value depending on how valuable the artist is later on. And then it's safer to invest in people who are more established already, who have brands, or at least they're a bit recognized, because they have the ability to raise prices, and in turn as an investment, parang they will increase faster, versus someone that you can get it at a very cheap price, but there's a high risk that 30 years from now, it's not gonna go anywhere. And then later on, when you want to sell it, it's not as liquid as other investments that are paper assets. But I think if you have a market, you know also who likes that particular painting. I think that's the best way for you to be able to sell.
If you know who to sell it to and who to talk to, for sure it's much easier.
Final words for people who want to invest in art, paintings, and then how can they get in touch with you also?
So that's all you need to do though for an art piece. If you like it, then you like it. You don't really have to explain like, oh, the colors are nice, or the lines, or whatever. Most people, they just look at it and for some reason they like it, and that's why they buy it. If you like something, if you believe in the artist and you have the money to spare, just do it.
Is it like real estate also na may tawaran pa dyan? Pwede bang 500 yan, pwedeng 480 na lang?
Yeah, always. But it's also, how much do you value the work? How much do you value the artist? If you value it for what I'm selling it, then just buy it.
Would you suggest that it would be better to get it straight from galleries or to the artist itself?
There's not really much difference, but for me, personally, I sell directly to clients. I know a lot of artists don't. A lot of artists only work with galleries, and you can only get it from galleries. There are people that look for my art that ask galleries, not knowing that they can just come to me and talk to me. I mean, it's nicer to be able to talk to the artists, right?
I've been a big fan of technology. That's why I've been investing in a lot of tech-related stocks, and e-commerce streaming will change the way people will buy stuff. And this is just the beginning. Because if it's so easy to do everything online, I think galleries won't go away, but there will be a big portion that online e-commerce will take also from it.
Yeah, because now people can't really go to galleries.
50,000 to 100,000 in 5 years. Do you think you're gonna raise your price to 200,000 5 years from now also?
I hope so.
Kasi you control it. You control your prices. So
I control it. Yeah.
unlike sa stocks, you don't know how much it will be 10 years from now. But as long as you keep increasing your price, as an investor, do you think it's a good upside also.
It's not like I'm planning for, okay, 2025, it's going to be 200,000. I just do it slowly, very slowly. You won't go a huge jump. It's mostly like every year, like every beginning of the year, you increase it just a little bit.
Guys, we are talking to the future of the art industry here in the Philippines. But
I hope so.
Thank you so much, Paulina Sotto, for sharing your insights. And to everyone watching this, if there's a couple of things that I got from this, please remember, there's no such thing as the best investment. You have to find an investment that fits you. And if you have investments already and you want to diversify, I think this is something also worth looking at, because if there's one thing that I got from this, what's nice about it is there's no volatility. Meaning, if you place 100,000, there's a big chance that it might not get lower than 100,000, especially if you leave it for the long term. As long as you can take it not being so liquid, especially when you want to sell it, or when you need the cash, it may take some time before you can sell it as well. Guys, if you have any questions, put them in the comment section, and then we'll try to answer it, or we'll see how we can make videos on top of that. But if you guys want to see also Paulina Sotto's paintings, I'll put it in the description below, and then you can just click it, watch it, converse with her. And then guys, support her na lang. Let's support Philippine artists. Kahit sobrang galing na niya. Pero, yeah.
Grabe naman.
So thanks for the time, and I hope this video helps you guys. Trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon. Bye.